Guys, my name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the weird stuff on the internet in terms of people that I guess they make a lot of money talking about me on their channel, but they don't usually know what they're talking about because they don't actually have any facts. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. Dbtv, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today is a weekend, so I thought I would have a little bit of fun today. I want to say hello to everybody. I see Max Law, Edward Thomas III, Eddie Oliver, Blaze One. What's going on? He says, OMG, you can't be serious. Yeah, so I think you're talking about the topic for today. And the topic has to do with the weird obsession that some people have with me on YouTube. Apparently, there are people that I make a lot of money, and I'm very happy for them. I want them to make money making videos about me or videos about my wife. And some of you asked me about this stuff, and I don't usually address it. I honestly don't watch any of the videos. Kevin Samuels did a whole episode about me, and I still haven't watched it. I just heard about it. I think I saw literally about 10 seconds of it. I don't tend to take in that negative energy, but I thought that it would be fun to kind of get my quick perspective on it. Now I'm going to address this one time. I'm not going to keep doing all this because I know back and forth internet conversations that tends to generate a lot of views because people like beef. My goal is not really to go around beefing with people. I'm really here for you. I'm not really here for them or for the nonsense or for the drama. And it's not really drama. It's not animosity. It's just more so honesty. It's more so like just honest reflection. And I know that some of you, there's a guy named Oshay Dukes Jackson. I know Oshay Jackson, who is Ice Cube. I don't know why he calls himself Oshay Dukes Jackson. I don't know what his real name is, but he has a very popular channel. He has a lot of subscribers, and he makes a lot of videos about me. It's really hilarious to me because I didn't know that I was that interesting. I really didn't. I didn't know that I was that interesting or that popular. But apparently, there's a lot of brothers that have things to say, and I get it. I understand that. So sometimes I say stuff that's gonna rub people the wrong way and piss them off. I've always been like that ever since I started writing articles when I was 25 years old. I've always kind of provoked people, and it's okay. I think it's good, right? And so I thought I would address it. And by the way, if you have any questions, as long as they're respectful, decent questions or decent comments, I'd be more than happy to address them in a direct, authentic way. So let me tell you why I decided to do this video. It literally just popped into my brain. I was like, this will be fun to talk about. So Oshay does all these videos, right? And again, I admit I don't watch them all in their entirety. I really don't get to watch them. I just see the headlines, right? And he'll say, like the last one I saw was something like Boyce was crying because a woman said he was a simp, or I forgot. It was something like that. And there was this graphic of me with tears on my face. And I was like, what was I crying about? And who is this lady? And what was I mad? And I said, are people just making shit up? Like, is that what they do? I didn't even address this lady. I don't even know who this lady is, but there's a whole narrative, in a whole video. I think I got to go check, but I think that this thing got tens of thousands of views. And I'm like, that's really cool, because I didn't know that people were that interested in me or my life, but I didn't even know who this lady is. And I think that part of it is sometimes you have stuff you just want to share. And I'm like, I want to tell people that most of the people who talk shit about other people on the internet, I don't know if they do this with other people, but when they're talking about me, none of these people have ever talked to me. None of these people know me. There was a whole string of rumors about me and my wife. None of these people have ever met me or my wife, right? And I was like, is this how the internet works? Like, people just kind of make things up And maybe that just comes with it. I think his site is like celebrity junk or something. So it's just take it for what it's worth, right? It's more like celebrity gossip. And again, I didn't know I was a celebrity, but okay, fine, I'll take that. Thank you. But it's borderline hilarious shit, right? And so anyway, I think that the first thing I want to say is that I don't back down from a debate. Like, so if Oshay ever saw this and he wants to just have me come on and ask me the hardest questions you can come up with, you can ask me anything you want about anything that's happened in my life in the last 15 years, and I will look you in the eye and I will talk about it. And I will say, yeah, that's what happened here. Yeah, we hired that guy. We had to fire him though. Yeah, I did get sued. Yeah, there's a, yeah, I'll talk about it, right? And but yet, so, it's like sometimes I guess people are looking for this like this what do you call it, other shoe to drop, or this sort of hidden agenda, right? And it's, you can ask me about the Tulsa fund. Like, here you go, that's a good one. Can you ask why everyone keeps saying you're a scammer? I can tell you exactly where that came from. Yvette Carnell used to work for me, and I used to pay her money, and then I let her go. I told her to go, and she's been angry ever since. She didn't move on with her life. I thought she was going to do other things. She didn't. She's still upset, apparently, because that's one of the things I talked to you guys about in business. If you're paying somebody and you stop paying them, sometimes they'll come back and they'll just attack you for no reason. You're like, why are you attacking me? I helped you out. But it just gets like that, right? I guess people feel stress or whatever. So she creates a false narrative that somehow I was paid to promote the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, that somehow I made a killing tricking Black people into investing in the Tulsa Fund. When I have never signed a deal to be a part of the Tulsa Fund. I invested in the Tulsa Fund. If the fund does not succeed, then I lose money too. I put 10,000 in there because I put my money where my mouth is. And so I invested in the fund because I saw Nipsey Hussle invested, and I invested too. And so if the fund doesn't succeed, then I lose money like everybody else. There's nothing different about my money being lost from everybody else. Now, do I think the Tulsa Fund is going to survive? I think that's still up in the air. I think that we should give them a chance to repair the business, because you've seen businesses. Amazon lost billions of dollars, and people said Amazon's never going to succeed, and they turned the company around, right? So maybe this is a turnaround job. I have no idea, but at the end of the day, that was a nonsense narrative. That there is absolutely nothing I gained from the failure of the Tulsa Fund. Nothing I gained. When that money went into that fund, I did not get a nickel of that money, right? The event I spoke at, I spoke for free, right? So at the end of the day, like, that's just the craziest thing in the world. But that's what, that's how the world works, right? People make things up, they run with it. And the problem with that, though, the real honest problem with that is that, people get sued for defamation for things like that. And I do have a good lawyer who has gotten a lot of information and who, is ready to pull the trigger if I decided to file suits. And I've been told to file suits because people are making these things up. These things are not true. And they should just be really careful with that kind of thing, because you get out here just saying stuff. You start, doing the Tasha K thing with the way she did with Cardi, where she wouldn't back off. It becomes something that can make you legally liable. So let me see here. Let me just answer some of your questions, because I really want to address some of this. Like, I'd love to go on his channel. Like there's actually a couple of people. Again, I've never met these people, but they are absolutely obsessed with me, and they make lots of videos about me. I mean, they're going to make more. They'll probably make a video about this video, and I encourage them to make the video. They can, but I encourage them to also be man enough to say, let's just do a debate. Let's get, if you really want views, if you really want people watching your channel, just get us on there. Like, bring me on. If talking about me generates that much traffic for you, then imagine having me on as a guest. And I've said this, I haven't heard from any of them. My email is manager@boycewatkins.com, manager@boycewatkins.com. You can email my manager at boycewatkins.com. And I have never backed up from anything. I've never backed down from any conversation. I would talk all day about the Tulsa Fund. Jay Morrison's my friend, but I don't do business with him on the fund or really much of anything else. But I don't dislike the guy. He's been very nice to me, very respectful. I'm going to be honest about that. Are there concerns about the Tulsa Fund? Absolutely. I'm also very close to Julian Gordon, who was the biggest critic of the Tulsa Fund. So I was stuck in the middle. I of two guys that I've worked with before, that I've mentored, that I've supported, and I didn't like it. I didn't like them fighting, because I felt that the fight was not in the spirit of the B1 movement. I think that there are better ways to fight. I think there are ways you can fight where you can actually address your issues without burning the building down. You understand? And I write about that a lot in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I say that there's an appropriate way that you fight, and fighting it out on Instagram, to me, that's not what you have to do as men. I think you can take it to court. You can do, have mediation. But Instagram is just honestly a place where you have a bunch of grown-ups who act like kids that are just gossiping about each other, and it's just kind of like a big playground, just a big messy playground. All right, so let me see here. Let's see what's the question. What about Jay Morrison scammer? If you think Jay's a scammer, then I would say don't invest with him, right? And I think that what people don't understand is that you don't have to put your money in there. Most people talking about the Tulsa fund did not invest a nickel in the fund. They just like speaking negatively about other Black people. So to me, if you're in the Negro naysayer category, the Negro naysayers, like this is Charlie the Negro naysayer, and Black people can't do nothing right. That Black business, he a scammer. He's a scammer. Right? Like the Negro naysayers are everywhere, and we know that they're always going to have a problem with anybody trying to do anything positive, anybody trying to build anything. If a business makes a mistake, they're going to call them scammers. Earn your leisure. They're out here doing their best. They're elevating consciousness economically for the community, but people, they call them scammers because they're jealous, right? It doesn't mean that they're perfect, though. It doesn't mean the guys that earn your leisure are perfect, but there's a jealousy there, right? And that's what I think is important to acknowledge also, that there are people that don't understand that you do better working together, like Charlie the Negro naysayer. You do know that we can work together. We can actually be friends. You don't have to murder another Black person for you to come up, for you to succeed. Like, I've never told anybody that I won't help them. I rarely, except for when I feel like your energy is bad. Like, so with Yvette Carnell, to be honest with you, I didn't like her energy, so I said I can't work with you anymore. But most of the time, but remember, she came to me because she needed my help. She wanted me to share her article. I didn't go find her; she found me, and it just didn't work out. So I think personally that that's the way you handle stuff. You just say, it didn't work out. Good luck to you, whatever. But if people feel hurt or mad, I reached out to her. I called her. I texted her. I said, hey, why are you so upset with me? And this is my reality. So same thing's true with Oshay Jackson. If O'Shea's in a different category. I think he's more of a comedian. I think he lives in another country. I will tell you, someone did reach out and they said, well, I know why he moved out of the country, because he got caught in some situation that he would probably be embarrassed to talk about. I don't know it. I don't know all the details of it, but I do know people came to me and said that there's a reason why he left the country. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know all the details of that. I just know that's what someone said. All right. So let's see here. Someone says, nah, Oshay has told a lot of lies. Yeah, I mean, I know that when they talk about my wife and I, it's all got to be lies, because they don't know us. They've never met us. They never interviewed us. They never, so, the thing about it is, fortunately, she doesn't pay attention. She doesn't care. But like some of the things, when you get on the internet and you just start saying things, I mean, I guess I get it. I think that when people see you as a celebrity type, they think that you don't have feelings, or that you don't have a family, or that you don't have real life issues going on, or that you're not going to be affected by what they say. They're thinking about getting clicks and views on their video. And I'm gonna tell you, it was I had to have a talk with Willie D after somebody saw a picture of me, my wife, and Willie, and created a whole false narrative around that picture, that somehow my wife secretly was chasing after Willie D. Willie was offended by it. My wife was like, my wife laughed about it. She was like, whatever, she was, me and my wife both laughed about it. And I told Willie, I said, no, don't worry about it, man. It's cool. Because literally people are going on his page and saying, yeah, I know that she wants you, dog. And Willie told me, he said, I block people when they do that. If they do that, they'll be banned for life on my page, because that's not how he operates. He's a loyal dude. He's a good guy. And that's why he's one of my best friends. That's why he was in my wedding, because he's a solid individual. And so when Kwame Brown and other people looked at that picture, even if you remember, me and Corey Holcomb and Willie got online together when Corey and I had a disagreement about some stuff. I won't go into that. Willie talked to Corey about that when Corey went there, right? And he was like, no, we're all friends. Like, no, that's not cool, right? So at the end of the day, I think, I guess it's okay. Like, it's gonna happen, right? People are gonna just say stuff, because what you're seeing on the internet, honestly, is you're seeing a bunch of people that are fighting for views. They're fighting for views on their channel. And the way they get their views is by saying the most salacious stuff that they can, even if it's not true. So by having a channel like Celebrity Junk, you're going to get a lot of people who, for whatever reason, enjoy the toxicity of saying negative things about other Black people. And I just wish the world was different. Like, I wish there was a way, like I've specifically said, I don't have anything against you. I don't even know you. Like, or this guy, Anton Daniels or something. He looks a little bit like Rick Ross. And I've been like, this guy seems to hate me, but I don't even know this man. And if he knew me, he would understand. Like, I would really rather be your friend. I don't know what you have against me. I don't know if you think that fighting me is going to help you elevate, but how about if I helped you? How about if I support you? How about if I have your back? And that's the energy I try to approach other brothers with. But unfortunately, it's like a gossipy atmosphere, and I don't understand it. I don't think it's beneficial to anybody. And I would say anybody who has, for example, anybody, they've made 10,000 videos about the Tulsa Fund. Okay, we get it. You hate the fund. You think it's bad. You're mad about it. Fine, but build something better. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like what? Show me what you're doing. Show me your fund. Show me your building that you bought, on behalf of the Black community. Show me something you're doing that's better. And okay, and we'll look at that direction, right? So like just like when I talked to Julian Gordon and Jay Morrison when Julian was going against Jay over the Tulsa Fund, I said, but I supported you too. And you had something that is a little easier for people to rally around right now. I support, just like I supported Jay. So we y'all both tried. You had different levels of impact and success. Both of you have your good and the bad, right? And I want to see all of you win. You understand? Like that's what I really think, that the crabs in the barrel thing that says that Black people must attack other Black people to get a share of the crumbs. I don't know who came up with that. I don't like it. It feels very Willie Lynch to me. And so again, if since I was started off talking about Oshay Dukes Jackson, I will make it 100% clear. He's got a nice platform. He's got a lot of people on there. If he ever wanted me to come in and literally, like, I like literally come up with the craziest questions you can ask, as long as you're serious, as long as we're having a serious conversation. Now, I get it. You're a little bit of a comedian. I can't be a comedian. I can never be funnier than a comedian, right? I don't want to be a clown. I want to be a king. But if you want to sit there and be kings, if you want us to talk as men about all of this, or Kwame Brown, same thing. Kwame Brown, the basketball player who I never met, never talked to, did 8-9 videos about me. And I never met this man. And he did all these videos. And I said, this is obsessive. Like, why are you doing so many videos about me? And I said, does anybody know him? Like, let me talk to him directly. Right. And we went to the same conference and I said, bring him in the room. He's 7 feet tall. He shouldn't be scared of me. I'm only 5'8". I'll look him right in the eye and say, hey, brother, you okay? Like, what is the issue you have with me? What did I do to hurt you? Right? What did I do that hurt you so bad that you had to do 12 straight videos about me when we could have been building something amazing together? We could have been doing something great. What did I do? Because whatever I did, I'm going to address that right now. And I'll even apologize if I have to. But the chatty patty stuff on the internet, like, I'm going to just keep. You've never seen me do that. You've never seen me have an issue with another dude on YouTube and do like 10 straight videos. I would feel mentally unstable if I was doing something like that. My wife would be like, Boyce, chill out. And the other thing too is I think that our community is better when we spend time building things than it is when we spend time fighting with each other and going back and forth. That's just my 2 cents. So anyway, let me go back here. Okay, let me see. Somebody says he wants a bro hug. Yeah, I would have gave him a hug. Like, I went to a conference. I kid you not. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I know I'm not perfect, right? I know. Here's what I do, honestly. Sometimes I say shit that'll piss people off. Like, I get mad about the way men behave in our community. I think that we're the laughing stock of the fucking world. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that we look like a bunch of bitches sometimes, and they don't respect us. They don't take us seriously. And I say that, and it angers me, right? I think that we're partially responsible for the breakdown of our families. The women participate as well, but also as a man, I feel like there's an accountability piece that we're missing as people. And what that does is that ends up pissing some people off. So I've made enemies because of that. I have Roland Martin is still mad at me because of a conversation we had back in 2011. I kid you not. 12 years later, Roland is still pissed off at me. And to me, that is the most weird shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, we can't move past that. Like, it was 12 years ago. And that idea of holding on to anger that long, it comes off as definitely feminine, but also like weirdly narcissistic. Same thing is true with Umar Johnson. I watch Umar's videos. I love some of the stuff Umar's saying now. I like it. Umar has evolved. He seems to be maturing. But he's done some silly shit. If you go back like 10, 8, 9, 10 years, there's some stuff Umar did that's absolutely flat out embarrassing. And he and I had a disagreement in 2015, and he's still angry about that. And to this day, I will go to a conference. Umar, they'll say, Umar's upstairs. Dr. Umar, you and Dr. Umar should get together. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's mend fences. Let's sit together. Let's talk. And they'll be like, well, Dr. Boyce, Umar said we brought your name up. Umar don't want to talk to you. Well, why not? But he's bigger than me. Like, he could beat me up if we got into a fight. What's he scared of? Why is he scared to sit down and look me in the eye and say, okay, brother, let's work this out for the benefit of the community? And that only makes me say, well, maybe sometimes when we get this internet fame, our egos start kicking off. And I just kind of believe, if you're in a position where you have an opportunity to have people that follow you and support you, you're supposed to be there for them, right? So I would be willing to let go of whatever issue I have, which honestly, those issues are gone. I don't care. It was 2015. I don't even remember half the shit I did in 2015. I'd be willing to let it go on behalf of the people that I care about. I'll never let a beef or a grudge override the reason that I'm here. The reason I'm here and the reason you listen to me is because we're here to support and to help you. So I'm going to be just honestly clear. Kwame Brown, Umar Johnson, Roland Martin, when I've been at places where they have been, I have specifically stated I'm more than happy to talk to them. You will not get any resistance from me. Tell them to come sit down and tell them why they're upset with me. And the reaction I get is very surprising, because I thought that men would be able to say, you know what, we used to fight. We wasn't cool back in the day, but now I've apologized. You've apologized. We've mended fences, and now we know we're better together. And I think that's the energy. I want to encourage young Black men. Don't grow up to be bitches. Like, just seriously, like, learn how to let shit go. Like, look at guys, a good example is, look at the NFL, right? The NFL, you go on that field, you've got these men that are literally trying to pummel each other, trying to damn near put each other in the hospital, trying to hit each other as hard as possible, elbowing each other, knocking each other down, beating the crap out of each other, trying to break each other's bones. I'm knocking stuff over. And then after the game, they come up and they give each other hugs. I love that. I love the fact that they have a respect for their fellow warriors. They kind of sit down and they say, okay, you know what? That was a good hit. That was a good hit. Like Patrick Mahomes after the game, he'll be like, good hit, dog, right? And the guy literally just sacked him and he could barely get up, but he's like, good hit, dog, right? And so, or if you look at boxing, right? Look at when Mike Tyson would fight somebody and beat him to a pulp. And after the fight, they're hugging each other and they're complimenting each other, right? I think that men should be able to do that. Like, look, we had our fight, man. You came at me with a haymaker, and I respect that was a hell of a punch. And then we're friends. Like, it's not like you walk around and you're just bitchy toward each other. Like, for the rest of, well, I'm mad at you because you hit me and you hit me real hard and I didn't like it and that wasn't fair. No, like, you can still be friends after the fact. Am I crazy? Or I don't know. Anyway, let me see here. All right, let me get back here. All right, so let me look at some of your comments. So Marquis says that clown did like 20 videos saying the same shit. He act like you created the Tulsa Fund. I think it's a personal vendetta, some other stuff. I think it is too. And the thing about it is I'm going to definitely publicly say that that's actually defamation. That's called defamation, because I did not create the Tulsa Fund. I was an investor like thousands of other people. And I don't know the business of the Tulsa Fund. The only information I have access to is information that's been released to the public. I've never even asked Jay specifics about his business. I don't know another man's business. And so running with that, just so you know, that is legal, that would make someone legally liable. Now, he lives in Uganda. Maybe there's a reason he lives there, because he doesn't want to get sued or something. I don't know. But that's not cool. Like, you can't just say something and make it up. And I think I did an interview on a channel. I Never Knew TV. It's a real good brother, real smart guy. And he asked me really hard questions, direct questions about the Tulsa Fund. And I told him exactly what I told you. I said, I didn't make a penny from the Tulsa Fund. I did not. I don't run that damn thing. People act like I did, but no, I'm friends with the person who ran it, but I'm friends with a lot of people. I'm friends with thousands of people, and I can't take responsibility. I'm friends with Russell Simmons, but that don't mean I was with him when that lady accused him of doing whatever he supposedly did in the 90s. Like, I don't know what all my friends are involved with. I said, so no, I don't even understand that connection. That was all manufactured. That was just somebody deciding I'm going to put both of their faces on a YouTube video and create a narrative that Boyce was scamming black people with Jay Morrison. And again, I'm not even putting that on Jay yet. I don't know how this fund is going to end. If you go to their meetings, if you're an investor, I've said it very clearly. If you're an investor in the Tulsa Fund, you should go to their meetings and ask the hard questions. They have a lot of answers. They have been talking extensively with investors. They're still raising capital, doing other stuff. Maybe they think they can save it, but I don't even know enough to say whether they can or not. Right. So I'm just as much responsible for what's happening in that business as any of you are. Anybody who invested in here, you're just as connected to the Tulsa Fund as I am. The only difference is that I do know Jay on a personal level. All right. So let me see here. Oshay and attorney JT has your name in their mouths. Yeah, well, the thing is that JT, I like JT's content for a while. JT the Pocket Watcher. I didn't understand the name Pocket Watcher. That sounds almost like hater, like I'm a professional hater. Because where I came from, pocket watching was seen as a bad thing. Like I don't pocket watch anybody. And maybe that's what people wanted me to do, to pocket watch Jay Morrison. I don't pocket watch my friends. I just don't. But if you notice on the channel, some of the work is good. Some of it, is like, okay, thank you for letting me know that this was a problem. But there's an industry created. It's almost like, honestly, when Kevin Samuels, as brilliant as he was a very smart man, actually. And I want to say respectful things about him in the sense that he actually defended me when I was being unfairly attacked by a woman on the internet who wanted to create this narrative that Dr. Boyce hates women, even though I've helped so many. I can't even count the number of women I supported. He literally came in and said, no, he doesn't owe you anything. Dr. Boyce did not have to work with you. He did not have to help you. He's the brand. You came to him. Right. And I was like, yeah, thank you for saying that, and it really made me, it was so traumatic that it made it to the point where I had a hard time trusting at that point. I was like, damn, like I'm letting these people in. I don't even know these people. They're coming asking me for favors. And I'm like, sure, I'll share my channel with you. And because you notice a lot of people don't share their channels. Like, go to Tariq Nasheed's channel and see how many people he's letting just go on his channel and do something. I shared it because I just thought, okay, I don't want to just have it all to myself. But the problem was I had people getting in there just doing stuff that was very harmful to the community, harmful toward me, and it became very unfair. So it became very triggering for me at that point. So overall, with JT, it was like I liked some of his stuff, but then I said, okay, I noticed a pattern here. Your whole channel is filled with images, mugshots, basically, of black men that you're calling scammers, and while some of them certainly could be defined that way for sure, there's two issues. Number one, the biggest scammers in America are not black men. The biggest scammers in America are white men. Let's just be clear in terms of dollar amounts. The dollar amount they take out of the black community. It's mostly white men. Number two, I don't know if there's enough energy put to distinguish between a hardcore, deliberate scammer versus somebody who made a mistake. Because businesses make mistakes. They make mistakes all the time. Mark Zuckerberg has made $10 billion mistakes that have had him testifying in front of Congress, that have had people accusing him of crimes. I've been talking about multi-billion-dollar mistakes. I mean, again, even if you feel that the Tulsa Fund is bad, right, and you're like, I'm not going to invest in that, whatever, okay, fine, that's fine. But that you're talking about a few $1 million. Zuckerberg's gotten billions of dollars from his mistakes. I mean, he's done some stuff. Just go look it up, right? But no one sort of questioned his right and ability to do business. Right? It was, not on a large scale level. So I'm not a fan of destroying every black business owner who makes a mistake, because sometimes that's just growth. Like, you look at Earn Your Leisure. Yeah, you can criticize them in a lot of areas if you wanted to, right? They're connected to Diddy, for God's sake. I mean, we know Diddy's name is kind of mud right now. That guy, Cesar Pena, was connected to DJ Envy, who was a direct connect to Earn Your Leisure. Absolutely. Robert Smith was an FBI informant, the billionaire, right? All these things might be true. But as you state these things that are true, I think the bigger question is, number one, how are you kind of addressing this, if at all? And number two, how does that weigh against the good that you do in the world? I personally believe, when I look at Earn Your Leisure, they are far from perfect, like every other business, but I believe that the good outweighs the bad. Do you understand what I'm saying? I believe that what they've done in terms of good is far exceeds the bad thing, the mistakes that they've made, right? Because they're doing, when you do stuff on a big level, shit's gonna get broke. When you do big things, you're gonna make big mistakes. When you create big solutions, you're gonna have big problems. That's the reality. That's the reality of getting in the ring. That's what happens. And the thing is that when you get in the ring and you start that business, like a lot of y'all are, and you go and you do that thing that's different from everybody else, and you try to take things to another level that other people don't understand, you're always gonna have these people that sit to the side with their popcorn, ain't done nothing, ain't built nothing, ain't created nothing, ain't developing nothing, who will sit there and want to nitpick every little thing you do and use every nitpick as a validation for why you shouldn't even be in business in the first place. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. And so that's the challenge I would give to JT the Pocket Watcher. I'll answer any of his questions. Same thing with him. My email is manager@boycewatkins.com. Email my manager and we can set it up. I'll go in there and talk to him. If he asks me a bunch of detailed questions about the Tulsa Fund, I'll be like, I don't know, man. That ain't my business. Ask me about the Black Business School. Ask me about what I do. Ask me about things I'm directly connected with, and I'll talk it all out with you. Because I know for a fact that I ain't perfect. I fucked up. All of us do. But also, I know that I've done some big things on a good level. And I believe that the good outweighs the bad. I believe that if you compare my good to my bad, our business probably exceeds companies, respected companies like Facebook, Amazon, IBM, etc., in the sense that they have probably done less good for the Black community than we have. Right? I'll say it. So for example, if you look at Amazon, Jeff Bezos has been accused of horrible things, horrible violations of workers' rights, stealing from the companies that are marketing on Amazon, literally destroying their businesses with alternative products, right? He's been accused of some pretty crazy stuff, but he's still one of the richest men on the planet. And that's the type of white privilege that I would like for Black business owners to get, that you can make a mistake and fix it and kind of still come back from it, as opposed to having people that are like, I'm going to do 85 videos in a row because I need money on my YouTube channel. I need to make money. So I'm going to do it. And every time I do a video complaining, lots of people come into the peanut gallery and complain with me. And that's how I make my money. I just think that that's like, it's a profitable business model, but it's a problematic business model. And I would encourage those guys, those men, to be men. Number one, develop something better. Number two, okay, address the issue and move to something else. And then number three, stand up to that white man. If you're going to talk about Black people all day long, if you're going to talk about Black business owners all day and create more distrust in Black businesses than there already is, then why aren't you doing that with white companies too? The reason you don't do it with white companies is because white people don't give a fuck about what you say. White people are not listening to you. White people are going to keep on doing business. They're going to keep on getting, they will literally have you do the worst hit video you can imagine, and they'll go get a $5 billion loan the next day because the banks ain't giving a damn about what you think. And I think that's why we tend to attack each other, as opposed to going after the bigger fish and the bigger enemy in terms of who's taking the most resources out of the Black community. There is no way I can convince anybody that destroying a business that makes $500,000 a year is as impactful on the Black community as going after a business that made $10 billion last year. Those are two different categories. And I think that that's worthy of consideration. Now, let me see here. Let's see. Next, let me look at some of your questions. Dr. Boyce, it's inspiring that all the names you just mentioned are all strong and valuable voices in the Black community. You are correct. Just imagine what you could do together. Yeah. I mean, all these people, I'm telling you, any of these people, as long as your heart's in the right place and you're not just a complete asshole, I'll partner with anybody. Really, to me, it's like, look, I'll bring what I got to the party. You bring what you got, and we can do something great together. Like, I would love that. Um, Byron says Yvette needs to man up. I'm not going to address that. I have nothing to say. I did work with Yvette for many years. So what I would say to Yvette is every time you say something crazy about me or negative about me, just remember you're talking about yourself. You sat next to me for many years. You took money from me for many years. So if there was something terrible I was doing to people during that time, you were a part of it, right? Because you sat there and you knew me very well. And I gave her lots of money. She never gave me anything. And I could have easily, I was already Dr. Boyce Watkins. I had already established my brand before I even met her. That's why she reached out to me and sent that first note saying, "Hey, Dr. Watkins, can you share my article?" And I did. Not because I needed her to agree with me politically, but because I just said, "Okay, sure, why not?" I done that with thousands of other people, and so I'm not here to make this into some sort of back and forth or battle, because it's not going to be that. It's just not. I don't have the energy. They go, and I already know they locked and loaded. They line it up, ready to do the next video. And it's fine. I'm okay with them doing that, and I'm okay with them making their money. But I also would only ask them to consider, um, you know, if there's any way that you can still make your money and us do something good and positive and powerful together, right? Like, is there a way that we could talk about each other in a way that isn't causing people, the people that believe in us, to lose faith in the Black community? I don't, give me a yes or no. I personally think that when people are observing prominent Black figures fighting each other, I think it looks like ego tripping. It looks like selfishness, a type of narcissism. I think it looks very immature. So if you ever want to know, like, people were asking me, they were like, "Well, if they were saying all these things that weren't true about you and the Tulsa Fund, why didn't you say this sooner?" That's what the brother at I Never Knew TV said, and I agree. He said, "Why didn't you say this sooner?" I said, because my people, intelligent Black people, listen to me, and they don't want to hear me serving my own ego by sitting around talking about what somebody said about me. It ain't about me. It's about the cause. It's about the mission. I am an imperfect vessel that is here to pursue um, a perfect idea of Black people succeeding at the highest levels. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not the only vessel, and I'm clearly an imperfect vessel, but me looking good is not the goal. The goal is for you to look good. The goal is for the community to look good. The goal is to fix all the bullshit that's going on in our community. That's the goal. So I said, I can't do that. I can't sit and go back and forth with people, because I think that the people that know me, that have followed me for many years, that have watched one of the 22,000 YouTube videos I've done. I'm an OG in this game. I've been doing YouTube videos since 2010. Um, these individuals, they need something from me, and I can't give them that if I'm spending all this time talking about what somebody said about me. I don't want to do chatty patty back and forth, but I am willing, to come on their channels and debate them if they have, or not even debate, just talk about it. Like, okay, you think I did something bad? Well, let's talk about it. Like, I don't have things to hide on that. All right, so let me see here. Going back and forth on the internet, Black men is Black on Black crime. Yeah, but that's the thing. It is it looks very immature. Let's see. Okay, next comment. They are going to accuse you of throwing rocks and hiding your hands. But yeah, there are people who all, just so you know, this video is not really for them. Somebody who doesn't like you is always going to find some way to find the most negative interpretation of what you said. Like, I could literally say, I want to give you $100 right now. And they would say, well, the only reason you give me $100 is you're trying to take 1,000, or you're trying to do it, right? Like, so I know this, right? So I know, and in fact, I'm only doing this because on the weekend, sometimes on my channel, I let loose a little bit and I talk about the stuff that I really kind of want to talk about, like the fun stuff, like the juicy stuff like this. And so that's all this is. This is more so me laying it out there. I know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to do videos about me. They're going to find, some negative interpretation. It'll be some thumbnail. Oshay is really good at creating thumbnails where he'll put an afro on, or like fake teardrops, and it's funny. Like, it's funny, right? It's hard to compete with comedy. Like, comedy works definitely on Black people, because we like to laugh. We laugh because we're in so much pain that's the only reaction we can kind of come up with that's going to make us get through the day. But I personally say, like, after we finish laughing, maybe we create a community where people aren't always laughing at us. Maybe the Black man shouldn't spend all his life trying to be the clown. Maybe the Black man should spend his time being serious and trying to be the king. And I personally believe that rather than getting mad, like even and there's another one. What's the guy's name? He's got a nice channel. I can't remember. He has the beard and the glasses. He looks like Rick Ross. I had his name in my head. I forgot his name. But anyway, like I like it. I like his platform, and I would say that rather than, saying like, oh, you're telling men to go marry babies' mamas or you want men to be simps, how about you learn from this black man and understand a different perspective other than your own? How about you consider the fact that maybe when I was the same age as you, I had a similar perspective. But Anton Daniels, thank you, that's his name. Yeah, Anton Daniels. Again, another good channel. I'd talk to any of these people publicly. It'll be fine. I have nothing to hide in terms of my ideas, but it's like perhaps we could come to an understanding because it's very challenging when you feel like you're arguing with somebody who's supposed to be on the same team as you. Like teammates shouldn't be fighting. We should be standing together. We should see difference of opinion as just diversity of perspective, right? I personally think, when I chose to marry my wife and take on the 3 kids that were not my own, I was not telling other men to do that. I was telling other men that I did that. And I do believe that there are some benefits to that. I also believe, again, this is my belief, that black men who care about the black community should feel some sort of obligation to do something to help with the fact that there are so many lost children in our community that don't have fathers. I'm not saying you have to adopt them all, but I think that if you're only focused on you and your kids, then one day one of those kids that's abandoned at birth is going to come up and shoot your child in the head, and you're going to be pissed off about it. But we allow the community to have all these lost children walking around. So I personally think as men, we should have some accountability for the community, and it has to go deeper than simply sitting around bitching about modern women. Yeah, I get it. I understand. I am not a feminist for the most part. I believe women should have equal rights. I think women should do what they want for the most part. But I've talked to y'all extensively about how the missing father is one of your biggest challenges in the community. That's causing a lot of your chaos. But for you to somehow think that we're not responsible for some of this, when we get to the point where all we do is attack women and we don't say shit about ourselves, well, that's disingenuous, man. That's just as bad as what the extreme feminists are doing. And I personally don't think that's a healthy way to view the world. I don't think that's going to get you anywhere. I don't think that's going to help you achieve your goal. It only kind of makes us look like a pack of assholes, to be honest with you. All right, so let me see here. Dr. Boyce, let's see. Edward's asking, are you still having reading reflections on Powernomics? Yeah. If you want to join the book club, we do the book club Wednesday. We're reading right now. We're reading another Dr. Anderson book called The Black History Reader. And here's a copy right here. It looks like this. And you can get a copy actually at powernomics.com. This is a damn good book because it's like a history book that really gives you real black history, not the BS that you learn in school. We do that every Wednesday night. One way to join, if you'd like to join, is if you go to boycewatkins.com, there's a link there. And also, don't forget, we have a social media platform for intelligent black people at b1nation.us. So you can go to b1nation.us, not .com.us, and you can join us there. All right, so let me see if I can answer some more of your questions here. All of this to break up the black homes, and we fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Yeah, we do, Tanisha. We do, because we don't take accountability. We spend time bitching about whose fault it is, as opposed to actually solving the problem. Yes, we're all trying to gather information that each one has to offer according to their expertise and speak negatively about the other. That just confuses the masses. We need unity, not division. Yeah, I agree. And to whatever extent I participated in that, I apologize for that because none of us is perfect. Again, I probably violated that myself. Try not to, but sometimes you do. Just keep doing what you do. You can only reach those who you can. Absolutely. And I don't reach everybody. I don't. Some people are offended by me, and I don't quite know why. But again, I would say any person like that is offended by me, well, just come and talk to me. Like I'm not scared to talk to people. Like, just I'd love to come on your channel. Jimmy, most of those black men are not addressing the ills that plague the black community. At least Dr. Boyce addresses some of it, despite criticism he gets for doing so. Yeah, Norman, what helps me ignore criticism, honestly, or not let it distract me is when I tell you I don't watch any of the YouTube videos people do about me. I just don't. I see them, and I see the image, and I see the title, and I see how many views it got. And that's what got me kind of tripping, because I was like, wow, I cannot believe. I didn't know. Honestly, I still don't know. I gotta understand this. But somebody said to me, they said, you don't know how big you are. And I'm like, I'm not that big. Like, I'm not a celebrity or household name, but I guess I must be out there because there'll be a video and it'll be like Dr. Boyce is a blah blah blah, or Dr. Boyce did this thing, and Dr. Boyce, somebody who ain't never met me, ain't never talked to me, ain't never got no facts, ain't never sat down with me, nothing, will do a whole video about me, and it'll have 80,000, 40,000, 50,000 views. And I'm like, wow, this is so crazy. I did not know I was that interesting. So again, I say to them, like, if I'm that interesting when you talk about me, imagine if you have me on your channel. Let's do it, man. Let's have some fun. So anyway, let's keep going. And by the way, I think that differences of opinion makes a conversation more interesting anyway, right? Like, why is it as Black people we think everything needs to be a war? Why does it have to be a war? Why can't it just be a perspective broadening conversation? Like, if you this was what I was hoping to achieve when I was many years ago working with Yvette Carnell, who has views that are very different from mine. But I was like, yeah, I want to hear your perspective because it's different from mine. If you thought just like me, then that wouldn't be fun, because I'd only get a reinforcement of the ideas that I already have, which might be flawed ideas or ideas that have not considered the whole perspective. So really, my thought is like, okay, let's talk about it. Tell me, about your ideas. Tell me more about Marxism or whatever, so I can at least consider where it might be true. But this is where the line in the sand gets drawn sometimes, to be honest with you. Remember, I come from academia. I'm a professor. So one thing in academia, one rule in academia, and I think this is a good rule, I would encourage you to consider this, is that you're supposed to have people that disagree with each other. You're supposed to have somebody that disagrees and challenges your views. The rule is you just do it respectfully, and you do it in a way that allows you to broaden your point of view. The world is losing. Our world is losing right now, and our country is losing because we get people that get in these vacuum chambers. So, one Black man says, all these single mamas are all stupid. And then 10 million Black men are like, yeah, that's right. My baby mama's stupid too, blah, blah, blah. And it becomes this silo of ideas where you're not even introduced to other perspectives. Like, you're not even hearing the perspective of a single mother that might make sense to you, right? You're not considering that because you're in a silo. You're not forced to do that. It becomes intellectually lazy, to be honest with you. Or you'll have somebody say, Black men ain't shit. Black men are the reason for blah, 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 blah. And then 10 million people will be like, yeah, that's right. No, 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 because they're all reflecting on their own experience, right? So every woman in that YouTube video is thinking about her baby daddy or her father or whatever, and she's agreeing and co-signing on this, as opposed to having healthier conversations, which should be conversations where you're hearing all the perspectives and you humble yourself enough to say, you disagree with me. I want to hear your point of view. I'm still going to be who I am. I still believe what I believe, but I want to hear your perspective too, because there are probably some blind spots in the argument that I'm making. And if you can't find the blind spot in your own argument, then that could make you into a narcissist. Seriously, if you can't find a blind, if you think that your shit don't stink, and you think that your whole perspective is the only point of view and that it's 100% right, and you can't acknowledge other points of view, then you're kind of a certified asshole, to be honest with you. Don't nobody want to think about this. Imagine, have you ever had a conversation like that with somebody who just believes that they're right about everything and doesn't even hear any point of view and dismisses any perspective different from their own? How stressful is it to talk to somebody like that? It's terrible. That's like, to me, that's the epitome of ignorance. So I would say to you, if you want to be smarter, here's a challenge. Here's a homework assignment I'll give you guys if you're listening. Go find somebody who completely disagrees with you. If you're a Democrat, go talk to a Republican. If you're a Republican, go talk to a Democrat. And then I want you to do this. I want you to listen, but I want you to listen with real, meaningful empathy. Like, I want you to really listen and really try to understand why this person might have this point of view. You'll be amazed at what it does for your own perspective, how it allows you to defend your point of view more effectively because you understand where other people are coming from. We don't live in that world. People are not encouraged to do that. People are encouraged to be intellectually lazy. And it gets reinforced because the internet is a place where you're not rewarded for that higher level dialogue. Shout out to 19 Keys. I love the fact that he pulled it off with his high level conversation. I met him. I like the guy a lot. And because I don't believe, generally speaking, on the internet, that intelligent, broad, diverse perspective dialogue where you're seeking to really come to true insights, I don't think that's what people like. I think people like to watch shit that just reinforces their pre-existing point of view, and it makes you feel better, but you do not grow. It's like a drug. Drugs make you feel high, but your life will not get better because you're choosing to be on drugs. Okay. So anyway, let me read more of your questions. Let's see here. Norman says, Dr. Boyce, I used to watch the videos done about you out of curiosity. Then I realized none of your critics addressed the plague that plagued the Black community. Yeah. I mean, it's okay to watch the videos. I mean, it's fine, And if you ever have a question about something, you can ask me about it. Like, I ain't out here doing no crazy stuff. So I ain't. I mean, of course, people will make it out like that. Like, let me see. Sherry says Oshay is a clout chaser. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. I know he's already going to do a couple more videos about me. Like I just said, let me do something so that because I don't mind him doing videos about me. I wish that they were a little more honest, and I wish that they were a little more accurate in the sense of like it's like, well, maybe you can talk to me and ask me about that, right? But the internet will let you say whatever. But again, I think the Tulsa fund was a thing where I did say a little more, because that becomes defamation. Like, you can't accuse someone of stealing when they did not steal, when they, I was not involved. Now, if you think the Tulsa fund's a failure, I did support his business like I supported Julian Gordon and a lot of people. When Black business owners come along, I say, hey, go support the brother. But I wasn't an ambassador. I wasn't a paid endorser of the fund. Never was, never have been. I've never been on the staff. I don't get a paycheck from them. I never have. So that narrative was always 100% unconditionally false. And the fact that some people just ran with that, and I had to start answering to that, I think is patently, it's just unfair. I mean, life is unfair, and that's what it is. But I think, anybody who cares enough about fairness, I would just hope that you'll hear that. Like, that's not my business. Now, if you want to hold me accountable for my business and what I do, then absolutely, I'd be more than happy to address that. But I can't address another man's business because that's not my company. All right. So let me see here. Any more questions? Let's see. The devil is real. When you're doing the real thing and promoting self-awareness, you will be attacked. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's true. Let's see here. Norman says Oshay Dukes Jackson has this weird voice and announcing himself. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I see it as more like comedy, right? That's kind of, like I want to be funny. And again, I'm not as funny as him. Um, you know, um, and it is what it is. I mean, I don't have anything else to say about that. Let's see here. Any more questions? Let's see here. They're going to accuse you. Okay, you already mentioned that one. What's your opinion about Cynthia G being kicked off YouTube? Um, whew, that's a tough question. I'm gonna answer this very carefully because Cynthia is another person that I helped to kind of get started. I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to have a lot of conversations with her, and I remember her sending me videos before anybody knew her. That's another example. Somebody sent me stuff, and they were like, "Hey, Dr. Watkins, can you share my video?" And I was like, "Sure." And at that time, I was not as aware of my influence as I am now. So now, honestly, I just don't do that as much anymore because it's bit me in the butt so many times, Michi X, stuff like that. And I think I'm just gonna say that when I saw that she advocated for the abortion of Black babies, the abortion of Black boys as a solution to the Black male problem, it made me reflect on stories Cynthia told me about what things her father did to her when she was a child. And I think that, like a lot of us, she might be a person that probably needs healing. That's all I'm going to say. Now, do I think she should be taken off YouTube? I'm not going to even address that because I don't need it to get messier than it probably already is. Like, just me talking about it probably makes it messy enough. But stating the idea about like aborting Black boys, like I can't imagine a Black woman saying that. That's very problematic, obviously, to be honest with you. Next, have you ever worked with Derek Grace? You know what? I've never worked with Derek Grace. I met him one time, and he's a very nice guy, and we had a great conversation, but we didn't talk much. And he had there were two ladies walking behind him carrying flags, and I thought, huh, okay. And he had a big chain on, and I remember his face tattoos, and he seems like a smart person. And so I knew of him, and but it was like kind of in passing. Like, it's interesting, like there's a lot of interesting people, that you see on the internet streets, and a lot of them I just met. Like, I would just see him at a conference or something like that. Uh and sometimes I get to talk to him for a while, sometimes not so much. But like what's his name? 19 Keys. Like, I just saw him at a thing down in Georgia, and we talked. And sometimes you get along with people, sometimes you say, okay, I gotta go. But yeah, that's it. All right. So let's see here. This is Oshay Jackson, your boy, LOL. Oh, you're talking about his voice. I was like, oh, is O'Shea here? That would be cool. But yeah. So anyway, you know what? In case you want to know what I'm doing today, I'm literally just fucking around on a Sunday. Like I don't have a serious agenda. Um, I just thought that it would be fun to kind of openly address things. So if you have any more questions that you want to throw in here, please do that, and then I'm gonna bounce out in a minute. And I can't wait. Well, I'm not gonna watch any of the response videos because I told you I don't watch videos about me on the internet, and I really mean that. I just it's just not something, because anything that you think is going to trigger you and piss you off, you really shouldn't consume it, right? I think, like, now, if they wanted to have a conversation privately or even publicly, I would do that. I would pay very close attention. But if somebody's just talking and they've never met you and they don't know anything about your family, or they're talking about you and your wife and they never met your wife, it's not factual anyway, right? It's speculation. So you're saying that for other people. And what's the point in even responding to that, right? When you got more important work to do. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. All right, so let's see. Someone says he really doesn't like you. Yeah, that's another weird thing about being like pseudo famous. I'm not super famous, because if I was more famous, I'd have more people that pay attention to me. But I do have over 1 million subscribers on different YouTube channels, so somebody's listening. And it's very strange to have people form an opinion about you when they've never met you. Like, I really believe that if most of these guys sat with me in a room and were just talking to me, they would probably walk out feeling comfortable with me, because I'm not a person who is there to be mean to people for no reason. That's not who I am, And so that's the unfortunate part. Like, I don't think black men should be talking through their YouTube channels. I think black men should be talking directly. Now, right now, obviously, I'm talking to them through the YouTube channel because I don't know them directly. But again, my email is manager@boycewatkins.com. If any of them ever wanted to talk to me publicly or privately, they can email me, and I'd be happy to come in and, like, okay, so give me your best shot. Throw the pitch across the plate. Let me see if I can hit it. And who knows? Maybe I'll end up looking stupid. I can't say. When's the last time we played Call of Duty? I haven't played Call of Duty in a while because they fucked up the game. The game was, I don't know if any other Call of Duty players are in here, but the game was great. And then they changed it and they got rid of the old layout, and I had to learn this whole new system. And I got so annoyed. Like, I'm looking over at my computer. I bought a whole big computer system just to learn how to play Call of Duty. That's how I got to know Alicia's oldest son. I'm his bonus dad. I got to know him because I said, well, he likes video games. Maybe if I learn how to play video games, we can have something to talk about. So I did all that, and I bought this whole big computer to do it, and I loved it, and I got really good. I was getting in there killing people. And then I'm looking at the computer now, and it's covered up with shit. I'd have to dig all that stuff up because I just gave up, because I hated the new format. And millions of people felt the same way. A lot of people stopped playing because they changed everything. Let's see here. Think the Black Manosphere is ruining the Black community? Do I think it's ruining the Black community? I think that you have in the Manosphere a lot of men that have legitimate concerns that have been ignored. I think that we have a society that does not listen to men. And I think that's so we created the Manosphere. I really believe that. I think that a lot of these men, maybe their issue with single mothers derives from their own mother, who, because Peyton, I think you can learn about the Manosphere by looking at Kanye. Kanye is mad at his dead mother because his dead mother kicked his father out of their life and put his life in danger by moving him to the most dangerous part of Chicago, and told his father that he can never come back or never come to her house because she had an issue with him in the relationship, and he's mad about that, right? So I think that there are lots of men who are just mad at their mothers because of what their mothers did to them, and I understand that, right? I think that there's legitimate stuff in the Manosphere to be heard, but the problem is you got to sort out the Manosphere. Do you understand? You got to sort it out. Because you got some men in there that have legitimate concerns, who want to be decent men, who are hurt because they try to be decent and the world mistreated them because of that. Then you got some men who are just straight assholes, narcissists, and predators, who are impacted by the pimp culture and the hip hop culture that really followed out of the pimp culture that told them that women are not to be respected or treated well under any circumstances. Those are not men that I identify with. I don't. But remember, hip hop did a terrible thing to the mind of the black man. Hip hop. Remember when Snoop Dogg in the 90s was walking around with with a pimp from the 70s, Bishop Magic Don Juan, with women on leashes and saying we don't love them hoes and fuck a bitch and all this other stuff. What you're seeing now is just the product of that. You have the product of that. You have just an extreme disrespect of men, to where if even some of these men, if they were to meet the nicest woman in the world who treated them well, they would shit all over her. Right? I don't identify with that. I don't identify with shitty men. But what I think, so it's like with the manosphere, it's diverse, right? There are things you can learn from it, but then there's some stuff that is a reflection of the same mental illness that might affect somebody like a Cynthia G. It is pain. It is undiagnosed. I told you the number one problem in the Black community is undiagnosed, untreated trauma. Undiagnosed, untreated trauma. You have traumatized people who are pissed off every day, and the only way they know how to deal with it is to give what is called a trauma response. Trauma responses, from what I understand, are basically when you're just lashing out at the world because you're pissed off at your mama, you're pissed off at your daddy, you're pissed off at your ex-girl, your baby mama, or your baby daddy. And so the only way you know to get back is to go to war. So people that are out here going to war, the part of the manosphere that wants to go to war with women is the part of the manosphere that's not going to build the Black family, because the Black family must be built. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. The Black family must be built on a cradle of love. You have to be, you need love. Love is an essential ingredient for building a family. War does not produce love. War produces hate. So if you're producing hate, if all you have is hate, all you have is complaints, all you have is criticism, all you have is attacks, well, then nobody's ever going to love you. And all that's going to happen is you're going to be in one experience after another that simply reinforces your pre-existing condition. And I think that this is the kind of debate and kind of conversation that I say a big chunk of the internet isn't interested in having. Because why have the patience and the discipline to engage in a higher level discussion that requires humility and growth when you could just simply cuss out a motherfucker who pissed you off? Let me see. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see here. Jerome says, Boyce, what would you say are the positives of dating a single mother? I think it's about what are the positives of dating a good woman, period. Like I just don't. Let me tell you my view on single mothers and single motherhood. Okay, number one, any single mother who thinks that they can raise boys into men is wrong, right? You have a lot of screwed up men because they were raised by their mother who thought she did a good job, and instead you created what I call a bearded baby, like a man who looks grown on the outside, but he's really a little kid, and he's not reliable, not responsible, don't take care of his kids, don't show up for his woman, can't defend or protect nothing, can't amount to shit, right? So you have problems with the single mother culture. It's been heavily reinforced in our community. We're like, white people are here with single parenthood. We're like up here, and we love it. We think it's beautiful. We think it's a wonderful thing, and it's an absolute shit show. The whole South Side of Chicago, gang culture, all that comes out of that type of environment. Now, here's the thing, though. Not every single mother got that way by herself. No single mother got that way alone, right? There was also a single father who made that baby. And I don't think you could talk about the plight of the single mother without talking about the role of the single father. And all those situations are different. Some of those fathers just ran off and didn't want to do their job. Some of those fathers wanted to do their job and were not allowed to do their job. Some of those fathers were in a situation with a woman who also was not had not dealt with enough of her own shit, and he hadn't dealt with his shit enough where they could be adequate parents. You understand? Like if you're carrying a bunch of baggage and your partner's carrying a bunch of baggage, then you're gonna both get together and work together to fuck up those kids. Like it takes a village to fuck up Black children. It takes a village to screw them up, and that's what we do. We work together. All of us with our undiagnosed trauma, the fact that we have all these issues from childhood, we never dealt with it, we never sat down and talked to a therapist, none of that stuff. So we bring all that and dump that onto our kids. So our kids come into the world in the middle of shit, and it becomes messy. Now, to answer the question specifically, what would you say is the positives of dating a single mother? I think it depends on the person. It depends on the stage you are in life. When I got married, I was in my 40s. I didn't want to have newborn babies. I just didn't. Also, in my 40s, I had plenty of money. So having kids was not an added expense for me. Also in my 40s, it makes you reflect on the fact that you're middle-aged. So you got to start thinking about the rest of your life and how that's going to go and the things that actually matter. When I was younger, money was tight. My career was everything. I probably would have chosen to have my own kids, most likely, right? Even though I did date a single mom when I was in my 20s, but But it was tough because things were more expensive and I didn't have a lot of money, things like that. Now I have plenty of money. I love mentoring kids, and I don't consider children to be a nuisance, right? Some people see kids and they're like, "Oh, this little kid is getting in my this little bastard's getting in the way. I can't smoke my weed and have my liquor and have my and have sex all the time, right?" Well, I don't think that way. I think kids are fun. Like I like kids, right? And I think that there are other men who feel the same way. I think there are other men who love, who don't necessarily need to the satisfaction of knowing like, well, I made you, I created you, right? No, I was raised by a man who did not plant the seed to create me. And so but he loved me as if I was his own. So that's the culture I come from. We're all influenced by the culture we come from. So I actually found in some cases, not all, that a mother can be a better person in a relationship in some cases because she's learned how to take care of somebody other than herself. Some of these little young hot things that walk around here with no kids, but she got a master's degree and $100,000 a year job. Some of those women are very selfish. Some of those women they're not trained to nurture. One thing, a good mom is tough. Like, she's a problem solver. Like not all of them. I'm not talking about Suki Hana, right? You wouldn't see me dating Suki Hana, but some of the single moms can be great assets to your life, and great nurturers. And my wife had her kids. She knows how to cook really well, and the kids are great. They're well behaved. I think it also matters how messy the situation is. Like, if you're talking about a woman with 3 kids and 3 other daddies, you got to negotiate, and all those daddies are crazy. That's a very different situation from walking into, say, a scenario where you have a mother with 3 children with 1 man, and the man is a good man, right? That was the situation I walked into. I can pick up the phone right now and call their dad, and and make plans on how we're going to make sure these kids get what they need. And as a result, the children benefit. Like, I think family, that's the big thing that we get wrong about family and marriage and all that, is we don't. I wish we would accept the idea that it's really for the kids. Like maintaining structure and stability is for the children. And I told my wife, I said, I want us to be the good neighborhood parents, right? Because there's so many of our daughter's friends whose parents are having so many problems, and these kids come over and they're all distressed and stressed out because mom and daddy are fighting and all this other stuff. And nothing against their parents. Like, we know their parents, they're nice people. But I said, I want this to be the one place they can come to where they're gonna find stability. Because I grew up with stability. I grew up with the privilege of coming home every day and knowing that my parents were both going to be there, that no matter what was going on, I'd never had to come home and see my daddy's shit in the front yard, or find out that mama done ran off for a carton of milk and ain't never coming back. We never had that, right? I believe naively that all Black children deserve that. Like, I would like for every child to have that, and so part of the reason I never minded the idea of being with a woman that had kids is because, first of all, if it's my life, like, why would the internet care about what I do with my life? That's the first thing. But then number two is, I believe all Black children deserve protection. I just do. When I see Diddy and Cassie, first thing, I talked about that all morning. If you go back and listen to the podcast I did about Diddy and Cassie, I talked about how Diddy and Cassie, first thing I thought about was, like, where was her dad? Like a good father would see right through this. Diddy couldn't date my daughters because I'm their bonus dad, and they have another dad and an uncle who would see right through his bullshit. You can't come up in here with your 37-year-old flashy ass when he was 37. You can come up in here with wearing some shiny green suit, talking fast, thinking you're gonna get access to our girls. No, you're not. No, we gonna talk to you. We gonna let you know if we find out anything is going on inappropriate with this relationship, you're gonna have some problems, buddy. And I think that old school parenthood, that's what your grandparents did. That's what your ancestors did. That's what they do, in the healthy parts of Africa. We don't know these things. We leave our girls so unprotected, and we leave our children unprotected, and then chaos happens and we don't learn from it. We don't take the time to reflect on how to make things better. All right. So anyway, let me get back to some of your questions. I'm sorry. The discussion that's trending among Black people on the internet is Black men going overseas to date and Black women divesting to white men. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't see the benefit of having all those conversations, although I know people who make their personal choices, right? I know men who married a woman from another country, and I'm gonna just tell you the truth. There is a difference. There is a difference. If you go to other countries, the cultures are different. They're more family oriented. The divorce rate is much lower. But the problem is that sometimes you think that what you're doing is you're walking away from shit, but really all you're doing is you're taking your shit and dumping it onto somebody else's culture. There are people I know. I'll give you an example. I know a man who was a divester basically, and he was talk about black women ain't this, black women ain't that. He had a single mom who had issues with, so he had issues with women for a long time. So you know what he did? He said, "I'm gonna go marry me an African because African women they understand family and blah blah blah." So he did. He married a black woman from a very wealthy family in Africa. True story, from a wealthy family in Africa. And she had stability, several generations of two parents that stayed married 40, 50 years. Family was not an issue. She was very family oriented. Well, the transaction did not work out so well for her because he had not dealt with his shit. So what happened was he was a highly inadequate husband. Like she would be like, well, wait, in Africa, if you're the husband, if you're the man of the house, you're supposed to do this and this and this. So she had all these expectations of what a husband's supposed to do because they maintain their stability by having standards. They have accountability for the men. And this man was not accountable. So he thought that all his shit that he was experiencing was because black women are messed up. But what happens is when you don't deal with your shit and you say, well, but I'm gonna go get me a woman in Africa because they better than these African American women. All you're doing is you're dumping your shit onto other people. Do you understand? So either way, you're gonna have to fix your shit. So she ended up getting a divorce with this guy because her family literally was like, that's why you don't marry African American men because they don't understand anything about manhood, fatherhood, or parenthood. All they do is want to fuck you, get you pregnant, and abandon your kids, or make excuses. The white man won't let me get a job, or whatever. So what you got to understand is that when you divest, same thing is true with black women. You got black women that are traumatized to the fucking core, and you think everything's okay because you got a banging body, a master's degree, and you make $100,000 a year, so you think you're perfect. And so you go and you say, I'm going to date me European man because black men don't do this to me, don't do that to me. And maybe some of that's true, but you haven't dealt with your own shit. So what happens is you end up, and I know an example of this. You're taking your little traumatized self and you're abusing the hell out of some man from another culture who's used to dealing with women who have a whole different disposition from the one you're bringing to the table. And he tolerates your shit because he's easy to beat up on, because he's not going to raise up on you the way a black man would, because with black men and black women, you get people that are just used to fighting each other. That's what you're bringing all this trauma to the table, and you get in these relationships, and it's like you're either fighting or fucking, you're either having sex or you're trying to kill each other, and that's what you're used to. So you take that same energy and you're just turning it outward. And maybe the reason why a divestment might be good for someone like you, at least from your perspective, is because now you got somebody who could be your punching bag. You know, as an irresponsible black man, you go find you a woman from another country who's used to dealing with men that she can actually trust, and you just traumatize the hell out of her. And then what her family says is see, that's what happened, that you shouldn't be marrying no African American man. So this is what happens when you don't deal with your shit. If you never deal with your shit, you think you the shit, but you really gonna be muddled in shit. You're gonna be in shit, knee deep in shit for the rest of your life until you deal with your shit. So you can go date you a white boy or get you an Asian woman or whatever it is you want to do, but you're still carrying you everywhere you go. You know, and that's the part that our people don't understand. Anybody who sits around and can only talk all day about how bad women are is a man who typically has not done a lot of self-reflection. Any woman who sits around and says, I had to marry a British bloke because black men ain't this and black men ain't that, you probably haven't dealt with your shit. You haven't dealt with your daddy issues. You're mad because when you were 4, your daddy left. And because your daddy left, you've been picking, and then you grew up looking up to rappers and gangsters and thugs. So you got pregnant by a thug when you were 22. He treated you like thugs do, because thugs will thug out on their woman. And next thing you know, you and Lil Paquan are trying to do it all by yourself because Paquan's daddy's only doing God knows what. And now you're thinking that you need to go marry a British bloke because black men are not any good, when really you got issues too. And I think that to me that's a real kicker in terms of what I think you want to pay attention to. I think if I was single and I was picking a partner, One thing I would look at is I would try to understand their degree of self-reflection. I know you can see my shit. I know you can see everybody else's shit. It's easy to see everybody else's shit. But can you see your shit? Most people can't see their own shit. I hope that makes sense to you. All right, let me see here. A couple more questions, then we can bounce out of here. Let's see. Somebody says African women and men are not necessarily living by the traditions set by their predecessors. They want to be like us, dysfunctional. Yeah, that's 100% true. Let's see. Next comment. We need to keep it real because single is a societal status. Women who raise young men need to establish a village of influential men around their sons if fatherhood isn't actively present. Absolutely. Absolutely. You need those men to be involved with the raising of your sons. Those relationships, most of them fail anyway. They go in expecting the foreign partners to do all the work. That's true. Yeah, yeah. So I'm not here to tell people that they can't be a passport brother or whatever. I think that if you want to get a passport, everybody should have a passport anyway. Like, why wouldn't you get a passport? And go travel the world. Go do what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. Just deal with your shit. Just be a better person though, because I do believe that if you are a good man and a smart man and you know how to protect yourself, you can find you a good woman. There's a lot of good, and I think that really what it comes down to too. My personal preference of why I wanted to be with an African American woman is because I feel that the African American woman has just been through so much, and I share a legacy with her. Both of us all, went through slavery together. We went through racism together. We went through hell together. And I don't want to abandon her abandon her on the ship. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just be like, well, since dealing with African American women is too hard, I'm gonna go get me a woman from some other country. I understand. I can get it, to be honest with you. I mean, some stuff, like I've been hurt very badly by some African American women. Some of my biggest attackers, maybe online or whatever, have been African American women that I tried to help, and it's very, very hurtful. It's very, very painful, and the way I try to be very careful in terms of how I respond is I try not to put everybody in the same basket. So I try not to allow the way I interact with other people going forward to be overly influenced by the traumatic experiences that I've had in the past. And I also accept the fact that sometimes I'm going to get it wrong. That I'm probably going to get hurt again, and that comes with being black. We're all in this together, and that's what I'm saying. And I really think that a black woman in America is the only one who can really understand what I'm feeling and what I'm going through as a black man in this country. And as much as my wife is not a perfect person, just like I'm not, I like the fact that she is a warrior in the sense that she's the type of black woman who will stand by her brothers. If you talk to my wife about being with, marrying a British bloke, she's like, oh God, ugh. Like that's just not her thing. I love y'all in London, by the way, Black London. I love you. I know I get a lot of support out there. But seriously, like, no, she's like, no, I'm not divesting. Like I'm in the trenches with you, and I think that's why really the building of the black community is going to come down to the strongest of us, right? Those who are just so committed, ready to go through the rain and the pain, and ready to fight it out. And here's what I believe about the black woman. I think that the black woman does not, there are women that should get criticized more because some of the stuff that they do is absolutely terrible. But there are, in the middle of all that nonsense, though, there are so many women that are just absolute diamonds in that they will show up for you in so many ways that are just unbelievable, unimaginable. And I'll give you one example, and then I'm gonna finish this. This is one example that made I was ballistic. I was really angry when I was in the University of Kentucky and I was in graduate school. I was 25 years old, and we had a protest because a black woman got attacked in a racially motivated incident on the campus, and the school tried to cover it up because they were about to play in the NCAA championship, and they didn't want anybody to know. And this is way, way back in the 90s, like ancient history. And so what we did was we did a protest, and I was the leader of the protest because I was the most visible person on the campus at that time because I had a newspaper column that everybody used to read. So we had this protest, and we were protesting in front of this tower. And at the beginning, everybody we would meet at lunch every day for an hour, and that's where the protest would happen. In the beginning, everybody showed up because everybody was behind it or whatever. But just like any other protest, eventually over time, people get bored and they start doing other stuff or whatever. I mean, so it was hype at the beginning because everybody was talking about it. BET came and had the cameras, so everybody ran out to be on TV. But then when over about 2 or 3 weeks later, the energy started to die out. Like people stopped coming to the protests, right? So there was one day in particular where it was raining like storm and rain, and we were next to this really tall tower called the Patterson Office Tower. It was like 80 stories high or something, and the wind would blow really hard around that tower. So you had the few soldiers who were just there every day. Not because they were trying to be flashy, not because they were trying to get attention, not because because it was the hot thing to do. They were there every day because they truly believed in the cause. These were the ride or dies. These are the people that are going to build the Black community. This is where I first gained my affinity for what I consider to be intelligent Black people, people that are really committed to the community. So, and most of these people in this group were women. Most of them were women. And on this particular day, and I was out there every day also because I was the leader and I wanted to set a good example. So we're out there. And on this day, this was the lowest attendance that we ever had for the rally. On that day, because it was raining and pouring, and your umbrella would just get caught up in the wind, and it was windy. Only about 4 of us were out there, and or maybe 5. And the people that were out there, it was me with 4 Black women. Every single one of those men was all cozy and warm somewhere. Every man who had been a part of the protest had disappeared. Every man, like I remember we had a Black student union meeting, and I went off on those fucking weak ass punk ass bitches. I said, "What the fuck is wrong with you? How in the hell are you going to have the women out here messing up their perms, tearing their hair up? You know what that kind of rain will do to your hair. Y'all Black women, y'all know what I'm talking about. Tell me you know what I'm talking about. Like they're tearing their perm up to be out in this weather, and you won't even show your punk ass up. You won't even stand next to her. You should be standing in her place. You should tell her to go inside and stay warm and quiet. We're supposed to be the front line of defense, and none of y'all niggas showed up. That's what I said. I was livid. And I was young. I was just then beginning to form and understand how sometimes as men, we do not show up for our women. And I was furious. I was so mad. I said, you should be embarrassed. The women were out there, standing out there because your punk ass ain't got enough discipline to finish the goddamn job. We got to kill that. We have to stop that stuff. That's embarrassing, man. So if you want to know why I have a commitment to Black women, why I will defend them, not every Black woman. Some of y'all women are crazy. Some women are terrible people. I'm sorry. But we talk about the core and the essence in terms of the women that are really moving the community forward, the ones that are raising the kids when the daddy ain't there, the ones that are showing up and supporting businesses, the ones that are educating the kids in the schools. Like, I love y'all. Like I would take all kinds of bullets for those women, because, and that's why I said, when I told y'all 10 years ago, I said, I don't know if I'm gonna get married, but if I get married, you can bet your ass it's gonna be a Black woman. I told y'all that. Because I preordained that there wasn't gonna be no like, oh well, I happened to just fall in love with Becky. No, I was gonna marry me a Black woman, because to me, the greatest sign of respect I could show, and the greatest investment I can make in any other human being, is to invest my life in that person. So I said, I don't know who it's gonna be. I don't even know if I'm gonna get married. No one's gonna make me do it. But if I do it, it's gonna be a Black woman. Because you stood there for me. Y'all been riding with us since slavery, before slavery. Y'all saved us when the master was trying to come kill us. Like, and so when I see men that just will put all Black women in a bucket and do it in a way that is devoid of any form of respect or consideration for how they're going to feel or whatever, or working overtime to destroy their self-esteem, I get furious. It ain't right. I think you can express your perspective without being disrespectful. And what I see is a lot of disrespect. So you might as well call yourself a Klansman. You sound like the white man right now. That's what you sound like. It's absolutely terrible. So that's where I stand on that. And that's where I've had some fight. Who knows? Maybe that's why the Anton Daniels guys and Oshay, maybe that's why they don't like me. I don't know. Whatever. I'll take that. To me, that's a badge of honor. Because at the end of the day, man, I ain't got nothing against you, but just talk about Black women like you got some goddamn respect. So that's it. All you gotta do. I mean, even if you just respect your mama, like, these women represent your mama. Ain't no other community out here forming an entire fucking industry around attacking their women. I can't think of a single Italian channel anywhere where they all they do is have a bunch of YouTubers that get together and talk about how terrible Italian women are. I don't see anywhere in the Jewish community where there's an entire movement of Jewish men talking about how horrible Jewish women are. I don't see that with the Asian community. No, they pick the woman they want, they ignore the women they don't want, but you don't see them systematically attacking and telling everybody why Asian women are so terrible and undesirable, unlovable, unmarriable. Asian women with children are garbage. Like, you don't see that anywhere. That's some little boy shit. I'm going to just tell you. And if you want to know why nobody respects the black man, that's part of the reason why. They look at us, they're like, man, y'all don't even respect your own women because you can't even protect them. Y'all women run around here trying to build up muscles, carrying guns, having to fight their own battles because y'all so busy attacking your own women that you're not even defending them. We can take your women. That's what my friend that he did 30 years. I had a friend, a rapper, he did 30 years in prison. And he said that's what the white security guards used to say. He said, well, y'all all locked up in prison. He said, we fucking your women because we're more of a man to your women than you are. That's what he used to say to them. That's what the prison guards used to say to him. And I just think any real man should be highly offended by this. So I just say real men stand up, do what's right, represent your community. That's all I got to say. I'm done. I'm going to go. So, so that's my 2 cents for today. And I'm sure they're going to make some response videos. I won't be responding to any of that because I want to get back to business. But if you want to know what I think, then this is what I think. This is me just laying it all out here. I'm going to go eat with my wife. My wife is probably cook some food. So I hope y'all have a good night. My new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I also have a whole bundle of books. Like one of my books is called The New Black Power. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. You can use the code book club to get 30% off anything in the store. We have financial flashcards to teach wealth to kids. We also have workbooks and things like that. So feel free to just go to drboycebooks.com. Also, tomorrow, I'm going to send out another stock pick that I like, as well as some other information via text. So if you'd like to receive that, just text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. And also, this podcast is on Spotify. We got over 1 million downloads last month. So thank you guys for supporting. I appreciate you. And I'm not going to do any more videos like this because Lord knows I got enough enemies already, but I'm willing to take all the bullets and all the darts if that's what it means to stand up for what I believe in. So I'm not backing down from none of that. That's just what it is. All right. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. Dbtv, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.